Hey, it's Jake. So if you guys couldn't really tell on the podcast channel here, we've had a rough couple of weeks trying to get content out. It's the off season, and we spent time over this episode talking about the Cup champion Panthers and looking at Columbus's off season so far, and then we also explained at the beginning why we had some trouble getting together over the last few weeks, which included, um, Jay taking trips, or I had like a little, excuse me, I had a little mental health break, or things of that nature. And one of those things was internet issues, because, for some reason over the summer, the weather loves to not cooperate in Ohio and cut off internet poles and things like that for a few days. So, like, for a while, I had no internet for, like, I don't know, 4 days a week or something, which delayed uploading the original version of this podcast, which we just re recorded yesterday on Tuesday, the like 8th or so, or Tuesday the 9th. I'm getting my dates basically. It's very early when I'm recording this little bit here, so I'm not fully awake. Um, so I lost internet for like 4 days. The original time that we recorded this, we talked about Pascal Vincent. We talked about what we could expect. We even talked about like, you know, how the final was going, and now the final's over, and the off season is going and going. But then, you know, we went back and we recorded what is now going to be the episode that you're going to watch. Uh, the 145th episode. We've got five more until we hit 150, guys, which is crazy to me. We're going to work on something really special and pray that what happened this last time and yesterday, unfortunately, also doesn't happen. We lost recording right when we were about to finish. We had like 5 minutes left to talk. We were going over arbitration cases and trying to explain arbitration to people. And then we were going to go over like one last little tiny thing after the ARB stuff and just talk about what we wanted to do for the off season. And this is part of that, I guess. This is that now. We want to get, a big guest for 150. We're going to have friends from the network. We're going to cross promote things. We're going to do all that kind of fun stuff. So we're going to be working hard behind the scenes and obviously on the show for you guys as we go into eventually what will be our fourth season covering the team, which is crazy that we've been talking Blue Jackets hockey for over 3 years now and going into four. So, stay along for the ride and enjoy the episode, guys. Thanks.
Let's draw out the awkward silence.
Well, now everybody knows that it's awkward.
You know what else is really awkward?
What's that?
Nicking your balls.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that. Right? You can tell too. I've cleaned up a lot.
Yeah.
Kind of needed that.
Yeah. Everybody uses a good cleanup, I would say.
Especially in the summer with the dude with the heat wave right now.
God. Oh,
I'm dying. Like,
been 90s like the last several days. It's crazy. But you know what will help with that?
what's that?
You need good products to help.
Mm-hmm.
And
Of course.
personally,
Mm-hmm.
I very much enjoy Manscaped.
A lot of us do.
Yeah.
A lot of us do.
Look, it's the best time of year. It's summer, the weather heats up.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice outside. It's sunny all day. You remember like winter when it'd be 4 o'clock and it'd be dark. That's not happening until
Yeah.
like 9.
Until like 9. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's nice. So, it's my pleasure to announce that smooth sack summer is officially upon us.
That's right, baby.
Yep. When you're playing in the summer sun, make sure you're groomed from pubes to bone. Thanks to our friends at Manscaped, you can make this summer your smoothest yet. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the ultimate bundle to keep your boys downstairs cool while looking hot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Get 20% off plus free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and use the code
THPN.
summertime, and the trimming is easy. Jake, when you think about gifts, 'cause my birthday is a summer birthday. I'm
Is.
Yes.
It
So
is. Are you asking for your gift live on an ad read?
I'm, if someone happens to listen,
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Well,
the Manscaped Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. Think about that. 5.0.
they've been doing this for a long time, bro. And
Long,
like
long time. Had a chance to do a lot of tweaking and everything like that, and they just continue to get better.
they get
This
better
thing
and better.
has everything you need to prepare that summer bod. Every
Mm-hmm.
man knows how scary it can get when going to a close shave below the belt. And that's why I trust Manscaped for all my sensitive areas.
Mm-hmm.
hmm Inside this package, you'll find the star of the show, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra.
5.0 lawnmower, dude.
Yeah, you say 5.0. I'm looking at lawnmower. What does that tell you, Jake?
Well, we know that lawns can get pretty messy.
And they need trimming.
Oh yeah.
You need to constantly take it. Look, you're a man and it's the summer.
Yeah.
You you take care of your lawn, man. Absolutely. Every man prides himself on taking care of his lawn. And I'm not always just referring to what you see outside. Their fifth generation trimmer features two interchangeable next gen skin safe blade heads. A
Skin
standard
safe.
one, yep, a standard one for taking a little off the top, and a new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires.
Mm.
We also have dual LED spotlights to provide contrast on multiple skin tones,
There you go.
setting combs, and oh, did I mention it's waterproof?
Oh, that's the best. That's so good.
Because you don't have to. Let me tell you, there's nothing better than being able to just do it in the shower, easiest cleanup possible.
Or like for another thing that we've got going on. Look at me. Like
Yeah.
I cleaned up for this summer.
hmm
And another thing in that performance package, a little something we'll talk about later as well. The beard hedger.
Yep. Beach, lake, or shower, this razor will devour even the strongest pubes. Now that you've had the perfect haircut, use Manscaped's liquid formulations to keep that freshness even at the hottest summer barbecues. The crop soother.
Barbecues.
Yep. Yeah. Who doesn't love a good barbecue?
Barbecue sounds pretty nice.
The crop soother, aftershave lotion, and crop preserver anti-chafe ball deodorant. Once they touch your sack, you'll never go back.
Nope. Never go back.
Let me tell you, do you want to know how nice these guys are?
How nice are these guys?
They're even throwing in 2 free gift bags.
Two of them?
2 of them, 2 free gifts.
Hey!
The Performance Package 5.0, the Manscaped Boxers, and Shed Travel Bag.
Ooh, you just got back from London.
Yep, that's what I said.
Not too long ago.
I'm going to Orlando.
Going to Orlando, you could use that.
Absolutely. More wet products? Say no more. Manscaped's new buff bundle is all you need to keep the summer heat a breeze. This bundle includes their signature silicone scrubber and body wash. Ditch your nasty loofah and grab a taste of freshness.
Yeah, baby.
Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code THPN at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code THPN at manscaped.com. It's smooth sack summer, boys. Get on board, get left behind.
You're listening to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your hosts, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Everything's been fine.
Good.
I don't know. Busy, stressful, fine. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. That's kind of been our lives lately, and unfortunately, as a result of that, we haven't really been around for our our good paying fans.
Our heart and soul, what we do this for.
Yeah.
So to basically, like, we're in off-season mode now, and we didn't really mean to take like a big break because we haven't posted a show in what, like 3 weeks.
Yeah, no, that's entirely accidental for a couple of different reasons. You having work, being busy, me having a vacation, and then doing a show in there that we sadly couldn't get up that we really wanted to get up because it was a good show.
So let me explain that. We recorded like what, about 2 hours worth of content.
Oh my God, yeah.
It was just shy of a 2 hour show, and we're gonna, obviously talk about some of that stuff again. This time. I went through the whole production process. Like, I edited it, I rendered it. That took like 4 hours to render because thanks Premiere. And everything was fine. The playback worked great.
Yeah.
I was getting ready to put it up on YouTube, and my internet went out for like a week.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, if like a cable got hit or something, but like I didn't have Spectrum working for like 4 or 5 days, guys.
Yeah.
So
It's
basically,
the thing you can't predict.
right. So basically, we missed the entirety of the remainder of the cup. We missed
the last show we did, we were talking about how Florida was up 3-0
and blew it and had to force Game 7.
No, I don't even think we got to talk about them blowing it. Like the last time we recorded and posted, we were talking about the Panthers having a 3-0 lead, and we were talking like it was a guarantee that they were going to win the cup, and then they did it by the skin of their damn teeth.
I want to say, yeah, Game 7 hadn't even happened yet.
Game 4 hadn't even happened yet.
Oh my God.
The last time that we recorded,
the last time that got published
was after Game 3.
The last time we recorded, I think we were like, oh my God, are the Panthers going to blow this?
Yes, we were. The last time something was published was,
Jeez, man. So that just goes to show you guys, like, what hell can happen when technology doesn't really go your way.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, we did kind of get some I'm going to put it up in the little corner here, over this way. I was on, our buddy Jimmy Finizzi was gracious to have me and our manager Kyle on for an episode of his show, From the Blue Seats, which is a Rangers podcast that you should check out. It's fantastic stuff. I've been on Jimmy's other channel before as well, doing I'm the warning guy now, apparently.
Nice.
Because we've done a lot of reactions to the Warning videos and talked about them. They're one of my favorite bands over the last year plus. By the way, like, I've only gone, like, ever since Keep Me Fed came out on the 28th of June, I think I've only gone like 2 days without listening to it.
That's me and Sabrina Carpenter, isn't it?
I was gonna say, aren't you going to that show too?
Am. Amazing.
Yeah, boy.
Amazing that Sabrina's opening her entire tour that's already sold out. She's opening it in Columbus.
I know the Warning are coming to Cleveland, and I really want to go, but like, I've got that Foo Fighters concert coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
And that show up in Cleveland is in September on a weekday, so it's like a whole thing we would have to do.
Right. Yeah.
Make it like a whole excursion day trip kind of thing. But it's off-season mode.
Isn't it ever?
Isn't it ever? So we're going to say congrats, Panthers, and shout out a bunch of those guys with our friends at DraftKings.
Yes.
Bet the action on the ice or on the field or wherever now that we're in the off-season with DraftKings Sportsbook. So it says here that we need to talk about some lines.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously hockey's over.
Well, baseball.
So let's talk about our baseball boys for a second with a couple of these same game parlays that we got going on.
Okay. Can I tell a funny story real quick?
Go for it.
Me in my group chat yesterday, I'm in a group chat with a Tigers fan. I saw a starting pitching matchup, and I said, quote unquote, I am expecting some runs tonight in the Guards-Tigers game. And then I followed up with, I'm hammering the over. 2 hours later, my buddy comes back with a screenshot. The Tigers won 1-0.
Man, I don't want to talk about the friggin' Tigers right now. Because the Reds go to the Bronx, they sweep the Yankees in New York, they come home, and then they get swept by the Tigers at home. Like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. So the SGP for the Guardians of Cleveland, same game parlay. 5-leg parlay at a plus 1,000. Back the Guards that are going to the All-Star game because there's a lot of them. There's 5 of them. Jose Ramirez, 1+ RBI. Stephen Kwan, 2+ hits. Josh Naylor, 2+ total bases. David Fry, 2+ total bases. And Guardians to win at Detroit.
Seems viable. You'd hope that after not scoring any runs yesterday, that maybe they would produce a little bit at the plate today, but I suppose we'll see.
Baseball's weird like that, right? It just moves very like.
We had a 3-game series against the Giants. I went to 2 of the games, and it was like the first start we had was Tanner Bybee. We lost that game. He's our best pitcher right now since Bieber's out and Kenzie been, shaky all season. So we lose that one, but we end up winning the series. And the 2 games we win, Carlos Carrasco started.
Oh, cookie.
And Logan Allen, the 2 bottom of the rotation guys whose ERAs are in like the 5s right now. Those are the 2 wins we get.
But okay, let's be fair. Cookie's the fan favorite that everybody still loves.
Yeah, everybody still loves him. I mean, he still plays a role with the team. I mean, they get innings out of him, but he's obviously not the young lad he used to be. So
he's not a freshly baked cookie anymore.
No, that cookie's been sitting on the Subway rack all day.
Oh God, you got to bring Subway in it. Ew.
Subway's got good cookies, man.
Subway's got good cookies, but like
cookies, man.
A piece of rubbery chicken and their warm vat of mayo that's been sitting out all day, like ew.
I don't do the chicken, so.
But the other
not about Subway. This is about Draft.
This is about DraftKings. So looking at the other SGP for my team,
yes.
The Big Red Machine parlay, baby. Steer 15 total bases. Last 5 with 3 home runs. Ellie 1+ hits in 3 of the last 5. And Candy, Jeimer Candelario, 1 RBI in his last game, which, by the way, they had the fun fact. One of the more recent games, they had an all Dominican infield.
Oh, that's
all 4 dudes were Dominican players.
It
was Candelario, De La Cruz, Noel V. Marte, and Santiago Espinal.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Very fun. So the legs for this parlay: Reds to win versus the Rockies. Well, I mean, it's the Rockies.
The red legs for this parlay?
The red legs for this parlay. There's 4 of them, baby. Reds to win against the Rockies. Spencer Steer, 2+ total bases. All-star Ellie De La Cruz with at least a hit. And Heimer Candelario with at least 1 RBI. That is a plus 550 parlay.
I like that parlay, especially the fact that they win over the Rockies. That feels. Although you don't know. I mean, they just got some of the Tigers.
It feels inevitable, but you never know with the Reds because, like, David Bell.
You never know with baseball in general.
You just never know with baseball. And if you want to get in on the baseball or the football when it comes or hockey when it's back, all you got to do is download the app now and use code THPN. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey, baseball, football, whatever. That's code THPN only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. Bonus specs expire 168 hours after issuance. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility, deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gambling resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2024, all rights reserved. So, again, congrats to Pomo and the Panthers.
Yeah, I feel like so much time has passed. We don't even really need to analyze the finals. I think everybody kind of knows what happened.
What an awesome final.
It was.
It was crazy. One of the best storylines, like a couple of the best storylines for an entire final.
Yeah, I felt like heading into Game 7, like I felt good heading into it because, as a fan, it's just I knew heading out of that game, no matter what happened, either Bobrovsky was going to leave a champion or McDavid was going to complete one of the greatest conquests of all time.
Right.
And be a champion. So I don't really feel like hockey fans either way.
We either got a sentimental win or a legacy win.
Yeah. With Bobrovsky, I think it's a little bit of both, isn't it?
A little bit of both. Yeah, because
I don't know if I want to say that this secured his Hall of Fame spot.
I think it does.
But,
I think it does.
Well, I say that in the respect of he may have had it already.
That's very fair. 2 Vezinas.
So, I think this for sure, this locks it in place.
Right.
I don't think this
makes him
set him over the edge. It's just what settles it for sure, for good, having that cup.
Does this make him first ballot?
I would hope so. I don't know. I'd have to probably look back to maybe give you a better answer on that. But is Roberto Luongo a Hall of Famer?
He is now, yes.
Was he first ballot?
I don't remember. All I know was his induction class also included Henrik and Daniel.
So those are 2 guys right there, Henrik and Luongo, who had great careers, and I would say better careers than Bobrovsky because there was
no, not Lundqvist. Both Sedin twins.
Oh, but Lundqvist is going to be a Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah, totally.
So I'm just throwing him into this discussion. Those are 2 guys who never won cups.
Right.
So,
Bobby,
and cups aren't the be-all, end-all. I've seen this.
Luongo now has it as an executive, not as a player. He should have won one as a player. Come on.
So I just, is Henrik a first ballot Hall of Famer? I would say yeah.
Yeah.
Is Carey Price? I would say yeah.
Yes.
Is Roberto Luongo? I would say yeah. I don't know if he, but I personally would say so. So, I would put Bobrovsky in that category. I don't know if I would have him necessarily on the same level, but he's there. I mean, his prime when he won 2 Vezinas in 4 years.
On
Those
a shitty
goalies,
Columbus team and a better but still mediocre at best Columbus team.
when he did that, he was a a consensus top 3 goalie in the league for like a 4 to 5 year period.
Right.
With those guys, with Lundqvist, with Carey Price, with Roberto Luongo. So, I think, I'll give you the straight answer. Yeah, I think first ballot.
I would hope so, just for selfish reasons.
I was a little surprised at how many people said no to the idea of him getting his number to the rafters of Columbus, of Nationwide.
That's weird to me.
I'm sorry, like, don't get me wrong. And this isn't an anti-Rick Nash rant or anything.
No, like Rick was obviously going to be the first number retired, regardless.
If Rick is up there, I don't know why Sergei Bobrovsky wouldn't be.
Why would Bob not be? Like, look at what he did for us for a decade plus.
Can I give you a very damning stat here, Jake?
Or maybe not. It wasn't even a decade, but it was just like, it felt like a decade.
A very damning stat.
Go for it.
Columbus Blue Jackets have been around for 24 years, 24 seasons.
Yes.
7 of those seasons were with Sergei Bobrovsky.
Right.
7. They made the playoffs 4 out of 7 times when he was in Columbus.
That's the majority, guys.
They've made the playoffs 2 out of the 17 other seasons without him.
Right.
Like, the story of the Columbus Blue Jackets franchise to this point, the most prominent figure in Blue Jackets history is Sergei Bobrovsky.
You can't really tell the story of the franchise without Bob.
That's usually the metric that I use. Forget about not being able to tell the story. You don't have a story without Sergei Bobrovsky.
Right.
Like,
part of that comes with just the kind of person he is, I think, because like he's such an easy guy to root for. Not only is he a great athlete, but like
his rise was really just truly out of nowhere. Because funny enough, he wins two Vezinas when he was in Columbus. One of the years that he won the Vezina, they didn't make the playoffs.
Right, exactly.
Missed. So if I'm not mistaken, he wins the first Vezina in Blue Jackets history, because I think Steve Mason was just Rookie of the Year. I don't think he won the Vezina.
Steve Mason won a Calder, yeah.
He won the Calder. He didn't win the Vezina.
And then, think about the guys before that. There was Pascal Leclerc. There was Ron Tugnut. There was I can't even really think of any kind of notable names besides those two guys, really.
And Pascal Leclerc was more for not necessarily panning out the way that Blue Jackets organization kind of hoped he would.
Right.
Although, no disrespect to Ron Tugnut. He was fun, but
Tugger was getting old.
He was also a bit older when he came.
Yeah, so, Tugger was getting a little long in the tooth.
So, not only is he easily your consensus number 1 by far in the goaltending department, winning you 2 Vezinas, but think about all the moments he was a part of. Helping the organization make it to the playoffs for just the second time in their history.
Winning the first series.
Winning their first playoff series. Making it to the playoffs in consecutive years for the first time in franchise history.
Mm-hmm.
Setting a standard, because, it was his last 3 years. They made the playoffs 3 years in a row with him. They lost to the Penguins, lost to the Capitals before beating
the Lightning
first round, and first 50-win season in Columbus Blue Jackets history in 16-17. Like, there's so many moments that he was a massive part of, and I'm happy that his success has continued down in Florida. And for the longest time, I thought to myself, man, I'm kind of glad that the Blue Jackets didn't sign that contract. And I'm sitting here like, okay, I'm still glad we won a cup, but at the same time, I'm like, man,
like if that would have been here,
The reason you didn't keep this guy was because you didn't want to give him 8 years. You didn't want to give him 10 million a year, and he wasn't totally happy towards the end of his time in Columbus. And why wouldn't he want to play in Florida? But man, like part of the reason that you felt comfortable doing it was because you had Jonas Korpisalo, you had Elvis Merzlikins, and it just hasn't worked.
Right.
This organization just hasn't worked without Sergei Bobrovsky. It just hasn't.
Well, no. But let's not like dwell on that longer than we have to until we got to get back to that. Because we do have plenty of Jacket stuff we need to cover.
Ton.
Other former guys that deserve all the congrats in the world, Billy Zito.
Bill Zito for sure.
I know Stenny didn't do much, but Kevin Stenlund also getting a ring.
No, he also got an extension, didn't he?
Did he? I thought he went somewhere else.
Oh, did he?
I think he signed like a 2-year deal somewhere else.
I thought he signed a 2-year deal with the Panthers. My bad.
I can't remember.
You got a pay raise somewhere else then.
But hey, good for Kevin. He got his ring too. And like there's so many guys on that Panthers roster too that just like I mean Alex
Huh?
Utah.
Utah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Good luck. But like Alex Barkov, man, like that was the first team with 2 $10+ million cap hits to win a cup.
Not to mention Sam Reinhart.
Reinhart got his payday.
He got a payday, but dude, Bill Zito, man, I thought like it was going to be a challenge to get him under 10 million. He got him under 9.
Right. What?
Oh my God.
Oh man.
That's some work right there. And then this was news today, but former Blue Jacket Adam Boqvist just signed with them. We'll get into what happened later, but
I will say that will be kind of fun with him getting to play with his brother.
Yeah, and I think it's a good place for him to go too.
Yeah. But I feel like the biggest guy out of all of these guys that deserves the congratulations the most is Paul Maurice.
Oh, dude, he's the best.
The dude has been coaching since he was 22.
He's a gem.
And he's been coaching for this was his 26th season, guys.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. He's had a hell of a career.
He's been around forever.
I have so much respect for Paul Maurice for so many reasons. But you know what is a defining moment in his career outside of just winning the cup here that I will always remember fondly? Was when he stepped down in Winnipeg. Rather than figuring it out and getting shown the door, he was the one who stepped back and said, guys, you need a new voice.
Right.
That's not something you see often in this sport. Like we see all the time coaches lose a room and then they're out. It's very rare that a coach is starting to lose a room and says, I don't have this room. I'm going to step aside.
When he recognizes and, tells the media that or whoever that he's recognizing it.
That impressed me so much when he did it.
That's a level of reflection that
yeah, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like a guy who has coached since he was 22 years old. It sounds like a guy who's been around the block, who's smart enough and aware enough and has learned enough in his career, and doesn't have the ego to refuse to step.
That's the biggest thing is the lack of ego from a guy like Paul Maurice. Like, watch Paul Maurice on the bench, and you watch him lose his mind. Mostly,
you watch him in these press conferences too.
Oh, he's so funny in his pressers. So, you can tell he's got such a personality. Right?
You guys only had one turnover. It's like, really? Who was it? Ekblad. Oh, he's done.
Ecky's scratched next game.
I've liked the guy for years, but I feel like that moment in Winnipeg, followed up by his coaching tenure in Florida, you can just see right in front of your face why he'd be such a great guy to play for. That's the best thing you can say about a coach.
Getting to watch him grow too.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
still
Yes.
even now still he's growing as a
Yeah.
coach, as a person. Like
it's so rare for a guy who's been around for so long, because you can you stay around in this league for almost 30 years. I don't think anybody would be surprised if you're stuck in your ways a little bit and it's my way or the highway.
we
Because
have a couple of guys to talk about that later.
There are a few guys who are like that, but no, this guy, he embraces new ideas.
Exactly.
That's and a defining moment for Bill Zito too, because all due respect to Andrew Brunette, who I do think is a good coach,
Right.
guy won the Jack Adams, and they said no. We're gonna go with Paul Maurice. We think he's a better fit.
Right.
This whole championship at the Florida Panthers, they deserve so much credit for, because it's been a lot of different moments leading up to this that had some risk to it that really paid off.
There's a lot of just so many cool moments, from players to coaching staff, to management to whoever, like Matty Kachuk getting the first cup in the family history.
Yeah, well,
and getting to shove the ring in Brady Heath's face.
The Kachuk trade is a prime example of what the Panthers have done. And remember, go like, I know everybody views it way differently now, but remember what was said when that trade was made. They gave up Jonathan Huberdeau off
and Mackenzie Weegar, who was coming off of
and Mackenzie Weegar. Everyone was like, "What are you doing?" He knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, he did. And Matthew stepped back too. This year he took a step back.
Yeah.
To let other parts of his game flow, and it worked out.
It did. Sam Reinhart, dude, they gave up Devin Levi to get that guy.
They gave up Devin Levi for Sam Reinhart, and he's gonna ring now.
Yeah.
Vlad Tarasenko getting his second cup in 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
OEL gets a ring, bro.
Yeah,
like,
OEL,
yeah.
It was a good, and then he got a big deal. Ooh.
Big deal in Toronto.
Dmitry Kulikov, going back where it all started.
Oh yeah, Cooley. Yeah, that's a fun story.
A very interesting extension. It's 4 years, but very, very low on the cap hit. So,
yeah, well, I don't know. We still have cap friendly until until Leonsis decides to shut her down. I guess later this week.
No, I thought it was supposed to be down.
It was supposed to be gone black already, but for some reason, for all the fan backlash that he's had, like they just haven't really finalized the sale, I guess. So they haven't officially gone black. Like we actually used a lot of cap friendly in our free agency thing that we did from the Blue Seats.
Nice. That's good.
So that was fun. But yeah, just so much kudos to the Panthers. And I honestly, I want to know how they run this back.
I think it's pretty easy how they run it back.
I mean, they're already replacing bits and pieces that they lost. They lost a guy like Brandon Montour to Seattle. Oh, that's going to be a big shoe to fill.
It's a big loss, yeah. But they lose OEL. But what do? You follow the formula. Oliver Ekman-Larsson was signed to a 1-year quote unquote prove it deal. Who did they get on a 1-year prove it deal on defense?
Adam Boqvist.
So follow your model. What's working for you? I think that Adam Boqvist, as long as he stays healthy, is probably going to work in Florida.
Yeah, and that's always been the big question with Adam.
Yeah, it's been a massive one. But yeah, I believe in what they're doing. I believe in the process. So I'll tell you what, Bill Zito's given nobody any reason to question him. So,
and he goes out and grabs another former Blue Jacket. Like,
yeah,
just follow the pattern, Billy. Right?
Yep.
It weirdly works.
Yeah.
So let's go to Columbus, being the Columbus show that we are. Talking really quick about Pazzy's departure. We already know that Pascal Vincent was dealt a really, really bad hand.
Did we already talk about this or no?
That
Or
was
did
the show that didn't go up.
Okay. Yeah, Pascal Vincent got a difficult hand. I felt bad for him in that respect, but I also don't think he was ready. I think it's a combination.
Yeah.
Two things can be true at the same time. This guy, despite all of his years in coaching, clearly wasn't ready for a National Hockey League coaching job. At the same time, of all the National Hockey League coaching jobs he could have gotten, this was arguably the worst one.
The situation with the Babs debacle is one thing.
That's a big part of why.
That's the biggest part of why.
Yeah.
There's also just there was so much stench from Lars that just
and I
stuck
said
around.
this on the last show. I'll say it again because nobody heard it because it didn't get posted. But
So again, we're sorry.
This
sorry.
was one of the few concerns that I had about Pascal Vincent. I was largely in support of hiring Pascal Vincent, but one of the concerns that I did bring up when analyzing pros and cons of coaches was that an argument could be made that, hey, we talk about Brad Larson and the stench of his coaching style. Well, he was a part of that coaching staff.
Right.
So, I guess my question at the time was, well, what did he do to defer from that? What has he done special to earn separation from that? And I think the answer to that question we saw last year was unfortunately nothing.
I mean, we went through 90 plus different line combinations, something like 92, 94 different combos. A lot of that's injuries, but
I respected the fact that he did his best to try and establish a culture of accountability, holding players accountable, scratching players, etc. I respect that he tried it.
Yeah.
Problem is it didn't work.
Was Pazzy a part of any of John's staffs? Do you know?
John
Tortorella. With us? No?
No.
Okay, so it was only under Lars. So yeah, he definitely picked up a lot of bad habits.
Yeah.
And
it can be as simple as maybe not necessarily him picking up the bad habits as the players had the bad habits and he didn't have enough time to get those bad habits out of the players.
Right.
It can be that. I don't know. But there needed to be a change. You brought in a new GM for a reason. You paid this GM good money.
You're paying him to play both roles.
You didn't give John Waddell all the money in the world to tell him Pascal Vincent's going to be your coach. That's just the reality.
Exactly. No, you bring your guy. And now we're starting, they're still continuing the search. We'll probably get something after this episode's posted because it's probably coming later this week.
So the final three that we heard was Woodcroft, Dean Evison, and Todd McClellan. My guess is it's really a final two. I think it's Evison or McClellan.
And weirdly enough, McClellan is the front runner right now.
He is.
Which, don't get me wrong, we've gushed and gushed and gushed about how much we want our preference to be Dean Evison.
Mm-hmm.
What are your honest feelings about Todd McClellan if he gets the job?
Honest feelings is, I'm just going to be as blunt as possible. It's a very vanilla hire.
Yeah.
I don't think, to be frank, I don't think it's necessarily a bad hire. Vanilla hires aren't always the worst hires. Right. They're just hard to get excited about. Dean Evison, I think, is a lot easier to get excited about than Todd McClellan. But make no mistake about it, Todd McClellan's issue has been his inability to get playoff teams over the hump.
Right.
It's never been about getting teams to the playoffs. And the standard of the Columbus Blue Jackets organization is not playoff team get over the hump. Right now,
it's make it there.
It's not even make it there at this point. It's get this team out of the fucking dumpster.
Right.
But
It's
before this awful 4-year stretch, the last 6-7 years before that was to get them to playoffs.
right.
Ideally, you'd like to get back to that mode. So if Tom McClellan could get you out of the dumpster and then get you back to the playoffs, that's ideal. And then you can figure out 3-4 years down the line, ideally, where you want to go from there if you feel you're ready to compete for potentially a Stanley Cup. But good Lord, we are so far away from that conversation. So from that respect, I don't hate that hire at all.
Right.
But it's not an exciting hire for a multitude of reasons. One, stylistically, it's not always the most exciting hockey to watch.
Never has been. I mean, watch the Kings over the last few years, and
Two, he is an older coach, so this is not hiring a coach that you think is going to be the head coach in 2029. You know what I mean?
Right.
And three, and I mean this more for you and me than anybody else, but the other reason is if Todd McClellan gets hired, it's gonna Dean's right there. That's the other thing is we're gonna be looking at it like, man, Dean's right there. Like, I think the reason I prefer Dean to McClellan is because he's younger, and B, I don't think that there's a massive gap between the two coaches. So my preference would be to go with the younger of those candidates. Not to mention, coaches often do their best in second job.
Right.
This would be Dean Evason's second job.
Right. I also feel like Dean works a lot better with younger players than McClellan ever did.
Yeah, and this is a very, very young team.
Look at what Dean did with Kirill Kaprizov, with Marco Rossi, with Joel Eriksson Ek.
Step back for a second. I'm not even so much looking at that as I am the defense in Minnesota. Look at what he did with Brock Faber.
Oh, yeah.
And look at that D-core for the Minnesota Wild over the years, especially, under his tutelage, how good that core was.
Right.
From a guy like Brock Faber, but some more veteran guys, Jared Spurgeon's been around forever, and God,
we love Jared
the
Spurgeon.
league's most underrated player for the entire time.
Like this, if we were a Minnesota Wild podcast, I feel like every friggin' day we would just gush about Jared Spurgeon.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of that player. I mean, and he's given us good reasons to be fan, but even guys like John Merrill, Jonas Brodin.
Oh God. How much do we not talk about Jonas Brodin when we should?
They really when we talk about underrated, they literally have two of the most underrated defensemen in the National Hockey League between Jared Spurgeon and Jonas Brodin.
And they're usually stuck on the same pair together, and it works.
That they've
perfectly.
been around for so long, and the defenseman who gets the most attention on the team is the young guy, Brock Faber, and for good reason.
Oh yeah, he's electric.
They've gone from underrated to almost more underrated because someone else has taken the spotlight now. So, I look at that and I'm saying, man, I want to put this out there to fans and make sure it's understood.
Right. Don't mind me. I'm just trying to find something for later.
Development is insanely important. And we look at, it's very easy to look at a young team and say, man, they're going to be so good in a few years.
Right.
But the reality is the players need to develop. And development is not a linear process, nor does it always happen. Look at where we were 3 years ago when we all thought that Adam Boqvist would be a massive part
was going to be the guy, right?
We thought he would be a massive part of the Blue Jackets D-core. And, no disrespect to him. I like the kid and I'm rooting for him. I don't think it's necessarily all his fault, but within a matter of 3 years, he got bought out of his contract.
Right.
He's no longer around. So, also the second round pick that they traded for Jake Bean, in hopes that he would turn into something. And now he's gone. And so when you made the Seth Jones trade, you essentially got 3 defensemen out of it. No, not 3, because Jiricek was drafted 6 overall. That wasn't the Chicago pick. But in one fell swoop at that offseason between the draft and that trade, you got David Jiricek, and then through the Jones trade, you got Jake Bean and Adam Boqvist.
Right.
2 of those guys are gone. Then you draft Den Matichuk. You also got Corson Kuhlmans.
David Jiricek is obviously, I don't know if you, I was looking.
Yes, yes. These guys need to develop because David Jiricek is a special kind of defenseman in that he's very big.
Yes.
And
but he's also
gifted.
He's extremely skilled.
The problem is, we see those defensemen flame out all the fucking time.
Right.
There have been a lot of really big defensemen who were supposed to be big things that have gone on to have NHL careers, but never lived up to the hype that they had associated with them. Look at Tyler Myers. Look at Bogosian. These are guys who are drafted high, who we think the world of them when they get drafted, and look at their skill set, and they're big and their right-hand shot, but you don't develop them properly, and they can have a place in the league, but it's not what you drafted them for.
Right.
The development of David Jiricek is insanely important. Right. They cannot fuck this up.
And okay, so let's take the whole scope of what David's gone through. Right? Under the previous regime, we started seeing plenty of issues with the yo-yoing being the constant thread in this, right?
Yes.
Especially just look over our past season of podcasts, right? Here in a couple of weeks, we're going to be going into our 4th season of covering these guys.
Yes. Which, by the way, sheesh. I mean, those years by, but
right.
They flown by, but they've also taken forever too.
Yeah. We still have 5 episodes until we hit 150, which even that feels wild.
Yeah.
So with what I'm saying is with David, you started seeing so many cracks of him being unhappy with the yo-yoing. Remember, he started this year with a spot next to Zach Werenski and eventually found himself on a very, an extremely stable pairing with Ivan Provorov.
Yes.
Those guys worked so well together.
Yeah, I thought it was probably our second best defensive pairing behind Severson and Werenski.
Exactly. But then they send him back down.
So, and not to mention, remember the 22-23 season, he starts off in Cleveland. Starts off pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some injuries. They call him up thinking, hey, this is our 6th overall pick. This guy's pretty damn good. Look what he's doing in the minors. We've got some injuries right now. We'll throw him out there, and just flatly, I like the kid. He was awful. Absolutely dreadful.
He was kind of thrown to the wolves.
Young. He was thrown to the wolves, but he was bad. So he goes back down, and he plays well. He's killed it in the A.
Yeah,
he has done his part in the A. But the transition to the NHL hasn't been as smooth as I'm sure they'd like it to be.
Right.
But that is the case for not only young defensemen, but big young defensemen. So the yo-yoing can't continue. As good as he's been in the American Hockey League, I fully believe at this point in time you don't gain anything from sending him there again.
He
He's
needs
got to get it figured
have a
out
spot.
again. So, you don't want to just gift him a spot. Players have to earn it, but you got to give him some time. Time.
Once he lands a spot, he needs to keep that spot. And that's.
And ideally, you'd like to find him a partner that works with him well.
Right. And it was a small sample size, but we saw that with Provy. And who knows if Provy's going to end up moving later this summer or whenever.
I think he's probably a trade deadline guy. At this point, I don't even see any reason to trade him because, good Lord, you don't have any stable defensemen. Your top 3 most experienced defensemen right now in the Columbus Blue Jackets are Werenski, Severson, and Provorov. And then what you have? Boakfist is gone.
Yeah, Boki.
It's
Goody.
a young.
Well, you have Goody, but that's
Branson,
not...
but you're not playing him with Jiricek.
Exactly.
So I should have said Branson. He's more experienced than Provorov, but so there you go. There's your top 4 most experienced defensemen, and there's a lot of games between those guys. Yeah. But that was 2 other spots that are likely going to Matachuk and Jiricek. Uh-oh.
Oh, wait. There you go.
You went out for a second.
You're a little finicky, but things are fine.
Again.
Things are fine. You're alive. You're here. So we'll see what Donnie does. He's got the whole summer to go, right?
He does.
And so that transitions us into the other part of the offseason that Don has been kind of working hard on when it comes to just bringing guys in. We know we need centers.
Yes.
Right. Sean Monahan for 5 years at 5.25, 5.5.
5.5, yeah. So I'm a little conflicted on this, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
I'll give you a little bit of both and on why I'm conflicted, okay?
Uh-huh.
So on one end, $5.5 million for 5 years for a guy who has notably been injury prone.
29 years old.
He's had a wrist surgery, and he has had surgery on both hips.
Yeah. Now.
Tears.
Yeah.
Oh my
God. Go on. Okay, Peter Griffin. All right, Peter Griffin.
However. Okay. This is a guy who from day one has chemistry with Johnny Gaudreau.
Those guys played for how many years together? Tied at the hip?
6, at least.
At least 6.
At least 6. And not just played together, played on a line together consistently.
They never left each other's side.
So,
not even off the ice. They were always seen together.
These are good friends on top of teammates. So that's point number 1. Point number 2 is he actually played in 83 games last year.
That's right. He had the rare 83 game season.
He traded to the Winnipeg Jets, and not only did he produce with the Montreal Canadiens in the first half of his season, he continued that production.
He had a damn good stretch with the Jets this year.
And when you look at when he was first traded to Montreal, he did get injured, but his production in the 25 games he played that season with Montreal was right about on par with what he did with Montreal this season.
Right.
That's good. And here's the third point that I want to make. You draft this kid, Cayden Lindstrom, but it's going to take him some time. Okay.
Yeah,
But
we'll get to Cayden in a minute.
We'll get into him in a minute. But the obvious ideal here is Adam Fantilli will be your number one center. We don't know when, but he will sooner rather than later for the next 10 years, 10 plus years, be your number one center.
Yes.
Barring anything bad happening.
Yeah.
So the way that they view Sean Monahan is this season, he will spend time as your number one center. But for the long term, he will be a number two center. Right. And when Lindstrom develops, hopefully Fantilli develops the way you want, Lindstrom develops the way you want, eventually you're number three center.
Right.
So they view him as a very good 3C, status quo 2C, right?
With the upside of a 1C for this team.
5.5 over 5 is a damn good deal for that caliber of player.
Sure.
2Cs of the National Hockey League get paid more than 5.5 a year.
You're not wrong.
If you're just like, I know, don't get me wrong, there's context here. I'm not ignoring that context. I'm saying,
no, believe me, no. Like my brain is just fried from watching debates over Leon Draisaitl. Yeah. So,
well, that's probably the best debate you could be watching these days, isn't it?
Well, like Leon's a special case. Like, let's be frank. I was watching the SDP thing when they were talking about Leon, and basically he's an $11.5 million center playing on an $8.5 million cap hit. So what's he gonna make when the cap reaches like 92?
15.
14 and a half, 15.
He deserves it. He deserves every penny.
Oh yeah.
But in a case of Sean Monahan, 2Cs in the National Hockey League are typically making $6.5 million.
He is also
that's 5.5, and he is signed now.
Yeah.
For 5 years, which is the same amount of term that Johnny Gaudreau has.
Right. So they get to spend the same amount of time together. They line up perfectly.
And ideally, as much as we love Adam Fantilli and as much as we love Johnny Gaudreau, I love the idea of spreading the wealth and not having Fantilli play with Gaudreau.
Right.
If you spread the wealth a little bit and have Monahan and Gaudreau play together, two guys have chemistry.
Right.
Maybe you play those two with, I don't know, Kirill Marchenko.
Right.
Maybe Adam Fantilli can be your center, and maybe Kent Johnson can adjust to the wing.
KJ can go back to, KJ's been playing 90% wing.
I think at this point in time, between the Sean Monahan signing, you got Fantilli, you drafted Lindstrom, Kent Johnson's a winger. I think it's time you go full-time. Kent Johnson is a winger.
Right. Oh boy. I still part of me is still trying to stomach the idea of 5.5 over 5.
I mean, 5.5 is not the issue. 5.5, I have no problem with 5.
It's the 5 years.
The 5 years, but really at the end of the day, you pay the 5 years to get the money down a little bit.
Yeah.
Do I like 5 years? But I can get over it.
Right.
I can get over it. Players, we say this all the time. Players are injury prone until they're not. He played 83 games this year. Maybe he's turned the new leaf. Remember, Sidney Crosby, who's been talked about a lot lately, he had a 2-year stretch where he just didn't fucking play.
Right.
And since he came back, he does nothing but play. He's never hurt.
By the way, a 3x10 for Sid?
What?
Sid's getting a 3x10.
Really?
For his new extension? Yeah.
Good for him.
So, after years and years of being the superstitious guy to take 8.7.
Yeah.
For what was
I
it,
would have
12?
I would have loved it if he took 8.7 again.
For what? It was like it was a 12-year deal. It was one of those.
7 times 12.
Yeah, it was one of those
Back when those
illegal deals.
contracts were a thing. Do you know what's funny? I don't know if you know this. I think it's hit only 2 players have like completed with the same team 12-year deals.
It's Sid Novi.
It's Sid and Ovi. It's like, of fucking course it is. That's unbelievable.
But yeah, congrats to Sid, I guess, because he deserves that. But we'll see what happens with Monty. I think it's definitely like, I'm just trying to think of top 6 combos at this point, right? Like, who would you put?
So I think what I said is going to hold true. I fully expect
Whoever you get from
and Marchenko to be aligned.
Right. So then, like, would it be just whoever you get in the Line A deal whenever that happens? Because I know they're still like quietly trying to workshop that.
To be honest with you, if they're like, if I had to guess at this point, if you're getting any sort of player back in a Line A deal, it might be a defenseman.
Fair enough.
But you know, I can't imagine that they're trying to prep around a potential Line A deal in terms of line combinations. I mean, Chinakov's going to be a big.
You could put Chinny in there. That's right.
Chinikov for sure. I think they're going to want to keep Voronkov as center. I think they're trying him to be the 3C of the team. Jenner potentially moves to the wing as a result of this.
Well, we know that Boone played wing for years.
Yes.
For us.
Yes.
So that's not. I'm not worried about Boone moving back to the wing at all.
He could play any position.
Exactly.
You see Monahan do that. I think he works. I think Monahan works best at center, but if he can do that too, Jenner, like there's flexibility. The Blue Jackets love their centers who play all positions.
Yeah, they do. God, I mean, last year we had no positions, which were to the detriment of things. But so we'll see what happens with Monty, and I'm hoping that like a Johnny, Monty, Marchie line makes some magic.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe they decide we want to keep the Russian line together, so they do something else.
Which, by the way, can we just gush about that Russian line one more time? Because oh my God, was it fun?
It was. The memories have passed, and the memories to come.
Oh yeah. So the draft happened.
Geez, who did we take? I don't know if we mentioned it.
Gee, so let's. It's funny because this draft, unlike the Bedard draft, was pretty much like Macklin is the guy, and then other than that, we don't kind of really know.
Yeah.
Like we had ideas.
Yeah.
But we also kind of didn't really know who other guys were going to take. So obviously Macklin Celebrini goes number 1 to the Sharks because we knew that for over a calendar year.
Yes. Same with as we did with Bedard. But funny enough, you know, last year's draft had a little bit of a twist at the beginning, didn't it?
First of all, Jumbo just being the role of Jumbo with the Sharks is like perfect, right?
Yes.
I can definitely see like Gino doing the same thing with the Penguins after he's retired. He's just Gino. He's just director of vibes.
He's just director of Gino.
director of Arm Score. So, all right. So Macklin goes 1. Levshinov goes 2.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I like that pick a lot, actually. He was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was really hoping he'd be there for the Blue Jackets. I really believe in his game. I think it's going to translate well to the NHL. Michigan State representing with the 2nd overall pick, impressive. Right. So I like that pick a lot. And he's, if I remember, is he from Belarus?
He is Belarusian, I believe. Yeah. That's cool.
It's always
look at the first 45-year-old drafted in an 18-year-old draft.
Yeah.
That hairline needs some work.
Actually.
He needs some Bosley or something. The Ducks got who? Because I'm just as
So
shocked
for the
as
second
like
year in a row, the Anaheim Ducks were like, "What if we just made everybody gasp on the draft floor?"
including the prospects.
The best reaction
They made
I've
shirts like
in a long time. Him just being like, "What the fuck?"
they made shirts.
Yeah,
So what's this kid's name?
Beckett Seneca.
Beckett Seneca. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, a CHL player, right?
Yes.
Okay. And who
Beyond
knows?
that, I can't tell you much more about it.
Right,
And,
exactly. Because
it's less about this kid and more about just me. This is the least I have invested time into an NHL draft in my life. So
yeah, I didn't really take a lot of time to look at guys. All I know is there's so many like uh former players' kids. There were like 6
oh
or
my
8
god,
former players' kids
so
in this
many,
draft,
so many.
which we'll get to one of them here in a second.
Yes,
Let's talk about Cayden.
Cayden from Medicine Hat.
Cayden Lindstrom, Medicine Hat Tigers.
Medicine Hat. What a cool name.
It's a great, like that whole league has awesome names.
So I look 6'3", 6'4", I believe.
Big boy, yeah, pretty big boy.
Big, strong, skilled center. Also has injury concerns.
The first thing I looked at when I pulled up the NHL app, and it defaults to your team, right?
Mhm.
The first headline I saw was Lindstrom wants to be the next Nash for Columbus.
It's sick. I mean, he has the build to do it.
Yeah, he does.
Prototypical build.
Because wasn't Nash also like he was 6'2" and like about 200 pounds?
6'4", long reach.
Right.
Like
Cayden's got
Nash
a
had
decent
the
reach.
exceptionally long reach.
Cayden's got a pretty long reach. He looked really, really good in dev camp this past week.
Yeah, Nash was 6'4".
Wow.
He's a big boy.
That's
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's I like his attitude.
this is at least this is something to get excited about for I don't know. We don't even really need to go too deep into Cayden for a couple of years, really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to see much of him this season. I mean, we'll get a good look at him in preseason, but you know, it's not until next season or maybe even the season after that that you'll
Start seeing more of Cayden Lindstrom.
yes.
Number 5 is where the craziness happened because that's where Demidov fell.
Yes.
Everybody thought that Ivan Demidov was going to go to Chicago like a lock.
Yeah. I can't say that I'm disappointed the Blue Jackets didn't take him because I think center was more of a priority.
Right.
But yeah, no. I can't blame the Blackhawks for wanting to lock down a really good defenseman, but I think everybody kind of thought like you get Dedemov and put him with Bedard, and that's your new, I guess, Kane and Taves. But
right.
Kane and Taves doesn't work as well without a Brent Seabrook back there, I guess.
Right, and you need a Siebesy back there to.
You need a Seabrook, you need a Keith. So we'll see where they get those from.
Exactly, right?
I guess Kevin Korchinski would probably be your Keith. So
yeah, you're going to see a lot more Kevin this year.
Yes. So I can't necessarily blame the Blackhawks for what they did, but hey, their quote unquote loss is Montreal's gain, isn't it?
Exactly, and then you got the first draft pick in Utah history. With
and surely it didn't piss off an entire fan base.
Tija Ginla.
So I think it's Ty.
Is it Ty?
I think it's Ty.
I've heard Tidge. I've heard Tej.
Tej. No, I'm fairly certain it's Ty, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Let me see if I can actually pull this up on the NHL's Instagram just to look at the actual. I probably should have done this before. The actual selections of these guys. Oh, where is it? There's just a lot of stuff because they post like what 50 times a day,
Yes.
as they should as a corporation. Oh my god, the free agent frenzy stuff. Again, go check out my episode with Jimmy if you want free agent frenzy stuff. A lot of winners and losers in there. There it is. Okay. Beckett, Cayden, Ivan, Tej. Yeah, okay, so Tej goes to Utah, which I think he's going to be fine because he's going to be surrounded by Clayton Keller and Logan Cooley and Dylan Gunther.
So he is 17, and he had 47 goals and 84 points in 64 games for Kelowna.
Holy crap. 47 goals.
Yeah. What the hell was up with their team? He had 84 points and had 47 goals, and he was a plus 17.
Right.
Should be more than that. Oh, playoff riser. 11 games played in the playoffs, 9 goals.
Finishing out the top 10 really quick. Carter Yakemchuk went to Ottawa at 7.
That was a little unexpected. They drafted him higher than most people expected.
Berkeley Catton, what a name.
Yeah, that's a good name right there.
Goes to Seattle at 8. Zane Perrick goes to Calgary, which, come on, we all wanted Jerome's son to go there. Because, please.
Because why the fuck not? That would be the greatest marketing scheme of all time.
Right, exactly.
You know how many jerseys they'd sell?
Especially with another Iginla 12 jersey going around.
Yeah.
But now that Iginla 12 jersey is going to be in powder blue and black.
Yeah.
Instead of red and white and yellow.
Yeah.
Bit of a shame.
And a hint of orange.
A hint of orange.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a shame, but like Zane Perrick's a really good pick at 9.
Yeah, and then of course the Devils had their pick of defenseman at 10.
Holy crap, Anton Salev.
That is a big boy.
He is listed at 6'7".
Gigantic.
He's huge.
But make no mistakes about it. It's not just that he's big. Like he's got some skills to his game too.
Dude. Wait, does he shoot left?
Yes.
Salev, Luke.
I'm thinking Salev, Nemeth.
Salev, Nemeth. Ooh. Wow. Wow. Great pick from Fitzy. Like, obviously, you know how much we love our Devils too.
Dude.
Like, for rivals, we love the Devils.
Off season. It's not just this pick. Every move they made, I don't think they've added a player to their roster who isn't at least 6'2".
Oh, they got huge. They got big.
Man. They beefed up.
They totally beefed up. Which is awesome. Which, by the way, happy belated birthday to our buddy Alex C.
Yes.
I know you probably texted him that day.
I did.
He's putting out a lot of really good articles for Devils on the Rush.
Yeah, and he's covering a lot of things too.
And doing a lot of good things on the On the Rush pod.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is also here at THPN.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I do also like.
Thank us, because we do this, and I just casually mentioned to him about THPN, and then suddenly he joined. I wonder why.
Oh, really? I didn't know that was. Wow, yeah, I could have guessed.
He didn't have a podcast network beforehand, and then he asked me after we did that first podcast with him how we do all this through THPN, and then very quickly after that he joined.
Oh, wow. I probably should have put 2 and 2 together with that, but like, that's awesome.
So really, you're the one who deserves the credit because you're the one who did the whole
who
Yeah.
actually had us join.
But I'm going to take credit anyways, because that's what Aaliyah does.
Which I also do while we're on the THPN like thing. Just I want to welcome a couple of a guy that I've been following his show for a really long time. Ducks and Pucks is now officially on THPN.
Oh, really? Ducks and Pucks. Who do they cover?
I wonder.
The Sens.
But yeah, Mark's gonna be, or Mike, he's gonna be doing a lot of good work with us now that he's here. Jet Luchenko, that's a hell of a name. The Flyers got at 13.
Our Jet's better.
Our Jet is better. Not as good of a name as who the Wild got at 12. Zeev Boeum.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yes.
Just on name alone, that's like.
Well, he had a good season at Denver, so the Wild just continue to add to their embarrassment of riches on the blue line, don't they?
Oh yeah, they do. The Sabres got Consta Hellenius.
Mm-hmm.
Big boy.
Yep.
Continuing to get, at minimum 6-foot defenseman.
Yep.
Right? First Norwegian player to ever be drafted in the first round, I believe, with Francis Nygaard going to the Wings at 15.
Yeah, that's a cool pick.
That was a really cool pick. And David's brother Adam going to the Blues at 16.
Should have been a Blue Jacket.
Should have been a Blue Jacket. And then other went to the wrong Blue. And then we do have a couple more guys that I want to just kind of talk about. With the controversial pick of Trevor Connolly.
God, why is that controversial?
Things, off-ice things.
Well, I'm sure. Well, he's a hockey player, so I'm sure he's a savory character.
You'll never guess who he went to.
I know exactly who he went to.
He went at 19 to the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah.
Who are weirdly no stranger to cutthroat dealings. And it's weird because, like, the Golden Knights are more known for their cutthroat approach in the front office instead of picking up bad behaved players, which is weird. Like, think about their guys that they have that even just left. Right? Are you frozen?
Hey, you're cutting out like crazy.
I've been fine. Okay, I guess my stuff is, I guess we're going through storm system right now, so like I don't know.
Gotcha.
But like usually that's their front office that does the shitty dealings, right? Not the players.
Well, in fairness, he wasn't a player until the front office picked him.
Right.
So it's still on the front.
Still on the front office. And then the last guy I want to talk about is Cole Yzerman.
Yeah.
Who went at 20 to the Islanders. He was a top 5 touted guy.
Yeah, he fell off this season in terms
what
of
happened?
What's funny is I was about to say, like, the Islanders in these last few years have been a bit of a value pick kind of team. Remember, they drafted Atu Ratu 52nd overall after he was supposed to be a really, really highly touted prospect. So I'm not entirely surprised that this is the direction that they headed in. And who knows, maybe they can rebuild his value up for the player that he once was touted as. He didn't have nearly as big of a drop as Ratu did, obviously, but
right.
I can't say it's all undeserved. He underperformed for what his expectations were to be picked in the top 5, but there's still a very talented player in there. So it's not the end of the world. There's worse places to go to, and funny enough, even though he dropped a little bit, he's still easily their best prospect.
Saku Koivu's son Atos.
Yeah, that was cool.
Picked in the third round by
really,
the Montreal Canadiens.
Really, really cool moment.
Very cool full circle moment, right? Columbus getting another Luca in Luca Morelli at 86. How much you want to bet that Pinelli and Morelli are going to be just tight at the hip?
They already did a video together.
They did a promo together already.
Yeah, promo together. Yeah.
I'm still just kind of like trying to scroll through the rest of the draft to see if I can pick out any of the other guys that were kids of former players, right?
Yeah.
Kevin He, second Chinese-born player.
Yes.
Ever to be drafted.
Would it be unfair to say he's him?
Oh man. Jake Fisher.
That's a cool moment. Like those are the moments that I love about draft day is when, you get the first Norwegian player picked in the first round.
Right.
And, you get I think Levchinov is, I'm pretty sure he's Belarusian, which I don't think any players ever gone to the top 2 from Belarus. And then, just a few years ago, when Slavkovsky and Nemec went first and second overall, that was
first time we got back-to-back checks that high, right? First time we got any checks that high?
They were both Slovakian, I believe.
Oh no, right. That's Slovaks.
So like that's even cooler. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like this is the good thing about the sport. It may not be growing the game the way that we hope around America, but
right,
it's growing in other countries in Europe.
That helps though too.
Yeah,
because you're getting more diverse countries able to bring players in, right?
Yeah, I think that makes the game better. Hopefully that message will resonate eventually in North America, but it still hasn't.
Alvin Sundin. I don't know why. I'm trying to just think of the other kids that like were actually in the draft that, were sons of former NHLers. I know Brizz's kid was in it.
Yeah.
Or at least eligible. I don't know if he ended up getting picked by anybody. Oh no. 212th overall. Miroslav Shatan.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Someone heard it was like the Capitals tweet where it was like son of Shatan and someone was like son of Satan.
That is really crazy that his name is also Miroslav. Like they have the exact same name.
Yes.
That's wild. What a draft, huh?
What a draft indeed.
Crazy. I know we got plenty of good picks in our later rounds. We'll see how those kids end up.
I believe the Blue Jackets, if I'm not mistaken, drafted a couple goalies.
Which they should have.
Which, good Lord, thank God we got a GM who's willing to draft multiple goalies.
Right. Couple cleanup items for Columbus. This isn't going to take long. Welcome back, JJ. First of all. Well, there's our filler on the defense.
That's right. When we talk about depth, we forget about Jack Johnson. Yes.
So JJ is back on a one-year deal.
The 5 most experienced Blue Jackets defenseman. Now it's Jack Johnson in that list. Oh God. I can't wait for the inevitable Jack Johnson, Erica Branson pairing.
No, it has to happen. You know that, right?
I can't fucking wait. I can't fucking wait. Oh man.
That has to happen.
That's right. I completely forgot about that. I can't believe we brought back the writer of Upside Down.
I will say that JJ coming back and not wearing 7 is weird.
That's fucking weird.
It's very weird because I know, like, obviously Sean isn't gonna really give 7 up.
Trade him.
We don't have blanks anymore. He could wear 77.
Yeah. But you know what? We don't have anybody wearing 52, so Corelli can go back to 52.
Right. JJ could go back to 7. I think Sean's gonna wear 23, right?
Yeah, that's confirmed.
Okay. And then another guy that we stole from the Penguins, BG Falcon alum, Steve Mears, is gonna be the new play-by-play guy.
Oh, yeah. No, so I said that when we were talking to Dylan Dyer, that I mentioned Steve Mears as a guy that I remember in Pittsburgh.
That's right, yeah.
Back in 2010, 2011, 2012, when we were going to games, because he would do like the reports before the games.
He would do what Dylan usually does, right?
Yes. So like then he, obviously for a little bit became the Penguins play-by-play guy. So really, really cool hire, to get a guy that I've been familiar with literally the entire time that I've been a hockey fan.
And it's fun to see him come back to Ohio as a Bowling Green alum.
He's a young guy, so this is a guy who can realistically do this job for 20 plus years.
Rimmer did it for 20 plus years.
Exactly. So
longevity. He did it for almost 40.
I mean, for the Blue Jackets.
No, but what I'm saying is like Rimmer's career was like 45 years or so.
40 years, yeah, easily.
Like getting a guy like Mears, I think, is going to be really good, especially to get a younger, vibrant voice that can be around for a long time and really sharpen things.
Yeah, I saw all over Twitter. A lot of Penguins fans really like the guy, and good reason. I mean, that's a guy who's been around in Pittsburgh for a long time. If you think about it, as I said, he had been doing stuff for the Penguins really since around the time I started paying attention to hockey in general. So I guess he has been there for at least 12, 13 years in Pittsburgh in some capacity. That's not nothing. That's a long time doing stuff. And, he obviously connected with the community, and the community connected with him. I know they'll miss him, but God, we're lucky to have him in Columbus, aren't we?
I feel very lucky. And knowing that he's excited.
Yeah.
I
laugh a little bit when he tweeted, like, he was like, I can't wait to get going with a world-class organization like the Blue Jackets. And I was like, yeah, who paid you to tweet that?
Couple last things. Players filing for arbitration.
Yes.
Which, for those of you that don't really know what arbitration is, I know we got a lot of casuals that follow this show. It's an ugly, ugly meet in the middle kind of process.
Yeah, it's a process that in premise makes a lot of sense, but when it happens in practice, it's usually pretty vicious.
Basically, what goes on is both teams can file, or both team and player can file.
Yeah, but both parties can file. And basically, what happens is I go to my team and I say, I'm worth this much. And they come back and they say, no, you're not.
Pretty much. They get in front of a mediator.
Yes. It's a very funny process in premise where it's like, we like this player so much we want to keep him, but we have to talk about all of his problems and faults and
why we think he's only worth X amount of dollars.
Price down.
Meanwhile,
it's a very funny process when you think of it from that perspective.
And it can get really, really
like,
ugly.
Well, if I'm so turnover prone, why do you want to keep me?
It's like they can get ugly. We've heard some really ugly stories about ARB cases.
I know the ARB case between Colorado and Tyson Berry all that time ago was really brutal.
Right. One that did file that's not on this list here, because I think the team might have filed for it, Jeremy Swayman. That one's going to be an interesting one to think about.
Well, I don't think he wants to go to arbitration, does he?
I don't think he wants to, but we haven't heard anything about a deal. And
you just fucking traded Linus Ullmark. This is clearly why. Fucking pay the dude.
But you also he's really upset because of that and the Lauco trade. They're really because he basically lost.
It's called pay.
He lost two of his best friends on the team.
Yes.
And now,
And I know that, you lose a teammate that you
Just
love
like
is
sour grapes
oh.
there.
But at the same time, sure, it's tough to give one final hug goodbye to Linus Solmark, but in that transaction, brother, you are the number one goalie. You're
gonna get your money, bub.
You're gonna get like not only your money, you're gonna get like 60 starts next year unless you get hurt. Like this is so fucking run with it, man. Like
so
it's potential to be one of the best goalies in this league. He absolutely could be a top 5 goalie in this league.
Oh, he'll be that within the next like 3 years.
So, just fucking take it, brother.
So the 14 guys that have filed. For the Sabres, we got Beck Mallinston, depth kid that they just got from Washington.
They traded a 2nd-round pick for.
Yeah. Like, I wonder what they see in this kid.
Oh my God.
And the more interesting one, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
Is a very interesting one because the Sabres organization seemingly for a little bit there kind of fell out of favor with him. They really fell in love.
And then he had like the best second half that a goalie's had in a really long time.
Yeah. And then it's like they called him up and it's like, okay, we're going to give him games. This is his shot. And then he, after not really impressing in the American Hockey League the last few years, was really good with the Sabres. So it's going to be a very.
So now it's basically they have UPL, Reimer, and Devin Levi. At least Reimer can give you games.
The Reimer move is specifically so they want to do everything they can to keep Devin Levi in the American Hockey League. The more games he gets in Rochester, the better.
Exactly. He'll get reps down there, and Reimer is a serviceable guy, whatever. But UPL, I wonder what this is going to do.
Yeah, I think salary arbitration makes the most sense for both sides.
I wonder what contract he's going to end up with. Hurricanes, Jack Drury, Marty Necas. Marty's an interesting one.
This is a really interesting one. Can players be traded after arbitration's been filed?
They can't get qualifying offers. Or not qualifying, offer sheets.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They can't get offer sheeted is the big thing. I think they can still potentially have a trade happen, but they can't sign an offer sheet.
Interesting.
So
yeah, that point makes sense. But you'd imagine if they can't get an offer sheet, that would probably mean they can't be traded.
And Drury's not going to get too much. I know he was pretty damn good for him this year. But I can't see
him
enough
getting player to get around that, to be honest with you.
Well, we can talk with Zach, maybe.
Yeah.
We can talk with any of our Canes buddies. But Necas is the interesting one because I think he's definitely going to be looking for something around 7 or more.
Oh, that guy wants more than 7.
That guy wants 7. That guy wants at least 8, 9.
So we'll see what happens in that regard. But I wouldn't pay him that much money, being honest with you.
We have 3. Jake Christensen, not going to cost much. Right.
You look so blurry right now.
I look fine on my end, so I would
hear you.
I'm pretty okay on my end. I don't know if you just froze. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Are we? Uh-oh. Are you okay? I can't see you.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Gehringer, GARRINGER, and at By J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.